Invincible Mumu. By Han Jung-Wheelia. Chapter 24. Interest. Part 1. In a room with a gorgeous interior and dinner on a table was a middle-aged man with stiff, half-white hair who was drinking. The director of the Murum Association has no choice but to be lonely in order to achieve justice. I'm lonely. Kook. It's always wonderful to hear the stories of the head. Haha. Is that so? Anyway, they're all my stories. The remnants of Black Sword, the bastards who took money from the groups, and among those bastards, there was a letter of appreciation to our association. Oh my. How? Everyone groaned. The middle-aged man who looked around raised his glass and spoke with a voice full of determination. And Dan Pilhu, the lonely director of this association, captured them all. Qua. Indeed. Director Dan is the best. We were able to trust them and send some kids out because someone with the same level of camaraderie is at the academy. Right. That's true. It was a harmonious banquet. But then a warrior entered the luxurious room and whispered something into the ear of the man called Dan Pilhu. Dan Pilhu frowned, then smiled and spoke to the officials of the factions. Excuse me, something urgent has come up. We have plenty of drinks, so stay and enjoy. After saying that, Dan Pilhu stood up and left. And when he went out, a large middle-aged man covered in bandages was standing there. He was Bayak Yaman, one of the teachers in the academy. It was unbelievable to see him like that, so Dan Pilhu asked. Really? Can't you see this? Director. It was hard to believe. Someone who hasn't learned martial arts did that? He couldn't call this a careless act. The kid took down a supermaster and cracked their arm. That was amazing. Taken aback by that fact, Dan Pilhu asked. So, for this test taker called Mumu, you want me to pressure your academy's director and ask him to take in the student? You don't have to pressure him. Just please ask him to be lenient. At those words, Dan Pilhu stroked his beard and smiled. And then said, Did you really like him so much that you came to me after only seeing him for a couple seconds? After hearing that, Bayak Yaman smiled and said, If the director sees him, I'm sure that your heart will be moved too. I wonder if that child could be of great help to Director Dan in the future. Yaman believed that the child could become a great warrior. At those words, Dan Pilhu felt his heart stir. Interesting. Nice. We'll see. He wanted to check the kid out once. Drool. Drool. Harayan looked at the boy he was sharing a room with. It was Haryang from the lower district clan. Annoying jerk. He looked so weak that Harayan couldn't even understand how the guy passed. And after getting inside the room, Haryang started gathering information on other people, so Harayan put him to sleep. In this place where beasts roamed, this guy looked useless. Tack. Harayan sat down. Now that the annoying one was asleep, he had to treat his hand. While looking at his swollen purple palm, Harayan grunted. That dog-like bastard. What amazing strength. Of course, Mumu didn't use his full strength, but he still used enough force to crack his palm. It would have healed after a while if not for the poison. Harayan pulled out the antidote and carefully began to apply it to the injured area. I'm glad that the poison is weak right now. Since the poison takes time to work, this wasn't fatal. But if it went untreated, then he'd be in trouble. Little by little, he applied the antidote. Who did that to you? The voice that came from behind startled him. When did? Harayan hadn't heard the sound of the door opening or someone walking. But they were already behind him. Cold sweat ran down Harayan's back. This meant that the person was as strong as his teachers in the White Valley. Who are you? One of the 8 evil guardians. As soon as he heard that, Harayan looked shocked. He suddenly remembered the words of his teacher. He will be waiting there. This person had to be the his teacher mentioned. Soon, without hesitation, Harayan fell flat on the floor. Harayan of the White Valley greets teacher Hio. After hearing that, the man looked down at him with indifferent eyes. I'm disappointed. I was looking forward to this because I was told you were a talented person who passed the White Valley test in 30 minutes. What? You got injured during the entrance test? At that, Harayan bit his lip. This was an unexpected accident. There was no way he could be injured during such low-level tests. You misunderstood. Don't raise your head. Yes. Harayan almost lifted his head to explain but then immediately bowed down. His teacher said to never look at teacher Hio. He almost made a mistake. That was when he heard the words of teacher Hio. It would be best if you don't disappoint me any further. You're 17. Prepare and never involve yourself in other matters, and don't bring doubts onto yourself. I'll keep that in mind. Wait for my instructions. Shoo. With that, the shadow vanished. Harayan, who had his head lowered, slowly raised it. The teacher was gone. He was so powerful that his presence was unknown. Damn it. Harayan grunted. Their first meeting went wrong because of that idiot. His honor in the White Valley was tarnished. Mumu. He decided he would never forgive that guy. Harayan, who was frustrated, left the room, thinking he had to get some fresh air. However, around 5 17 to 18-year-olds were rushing through the hallway. What? What is with them? Where is that bastard's room? I heard that it's on the last floor. That must be true because a member of the academy said it. Because of him, we couldn't even see the introduction ceremony and were locked up in our rooms for hours. But is this fine? He's said to be the brother of Eugene Sung. Huh? What do you mean? I'm Kong Seoryong. My older brother is Eugene Sung Sr. I'm not turning back. Huh? Who can stop Kong Seoryong? Don't be too worried. We all suffered because of the guy who isn't even from a Murim family. A guy like that needs to be brought to his senses before he does anything else. Harayan smiled after hearing that conversation. This is fun. It seemed like these people had to wait for a long time. Seeing that, he felt like his anger would soon be satisfied. Such people were present everywhere one went. But it looked like Kong Seoryong and the others were slightly above the level needed to pass the test. At that level, they wouldn't be able to do anything to Mumu. However, with a little bit of help, things could change. Thinking that, Harayan stretched out his arms. What floor was it? TCH. Jin Hyuk went to Mumu's room right away while feeling unpleasant. This wasn't something he liked. But this was something his father and mother had asked of him, so he wanted to follow that. Thud. Jin Hyuk opened the door and entered only to frown. The room was empty besides one bag that looked like Mumu's luggage. And Moilwa wasn't there either. Where are they? He couldn't have gone anywhere else, especially since he told Mumu to wait there. Jin Hyuk looked around the room, then closed the door and sat on the bed. He must have gone to apologize. That could be it. After all, he did tell Mumu to go and apologize to the supervisors. Mumu would probably smile brightly and nod to anything. His father seemed to have raised a good fool. No matter how powerful Mumu was, he was naive and didn't know how to get angry, so deceiving him seemed easy. But why is he still not coming ba? Knock. Huh? Someone knocked on the door. And then Jin Hyuk approached the door and carefully opened it. Who? Shoo. A hand squeezed through the gap as he opened the door and threw dust into his face. Jin Hyuk, who was taken by surprise, inhaled the dust. Cough cough. As he coughed, he hurriedly opened the door fully. But the culprit couldn't be seen. He wasn't sure, but the person who did this didn't seem friendly. Is it poison? Flustered, he closed the door, went into the room, and began to circulate the energy in his body. If it was poison, then it was bound to react with his energy. However, no matter how long and thoroughly he circulated his energy, there was no reaction. And his internal energy seemed normal. What is this? A joke? If so, then this was outrageous. Or was it someone with a grudge towards Mumu? It was hard to say. Mumu had stopped the tests and delayed the ceremony, so many people could harbor malice towards him. Damn it. He came here with a good heart but was suffering now. This is why kindness is bad. He frowned since he was getting annoyed. Then he felt rushing in the hallway. There were 5 people, but he was sure that neither Mumu or the one who threw dust at him were among them. He was puzzled, but then the door slammed open. Kwang. Jin Hyuk, who was sitting in meditation, abruptly stood up. What? How can you enter someone else's room like this? The boy, who was followed by 4 others, seemed to be around 18, and he asked, Is your brother Yu Jin-sung? Jin Hyuk sighed. Wherever he went, his brother's name was the first thing mentioned. He respects his brother, but sometimes it was too much. Right. But why did you come into someone else's room to find me? No, whatever the cause, it doesn't appear like you came here for a good reason. Fat. Before he could even finish, the boy ran up and punched him. Jin Hyuk took half a step back and crossed his arms, blocking the fist. What are you doing? Are you asking because you don't know? It seems like a person from a lowly family believed in his older brother and became arrogant. Today, I will teach you where you stand. What? Pack. The boy then tried to knee Jin Hyuk. However, Jin Hyuk blocked it with his hand and kicked the boy in the head. Puk. The boy who got kicked in the head ended up moving 3 steps back. And seeing that, the other boys shouted, Seo Ryong. Are you okay? Kong Seo Ryong, who was being checked on by the others, wiped the blood from his lip. You. He was feeling dizzy, but he couldn't show it. He was from a Muram family. This bastard. Kong Seo Ryong's opponent was stronger than he thought, so he was surprised. But before coming here, Kong Seo Ryong had sat down, checked his body, and then properly spread his internal energy so he could demonstrate his skills. While looking at him, Jin Hyuk's eyes narrowed. He withstood a 7th level kick. He kicked the guy in the head while using internal energy. Nevertheless, he endured it. This guy, called Kong Seo Ryong, seemed to be as strong as him. He couldn't be reckless anymore. Even though he thought that, Jin Hyuk's eyes were flaring up little by little. First fight. This would be his first time fighting with someone his age. That was why his heart was pounding so hard. His teacher said that growth was exponential when one competes with many people. This seemed like an opportunity. So Jin Hyuk raised his internal energy, but... That was when he felt his body lose strength. His whole body felt powerless, and he was unable to even make a fist. Was it that? At that moment, Kong Seo Ryong flew in. Fat. Even though he took a defensive stance, he couldn't block the punch since he was losing strength. Puck. Quack. Jin Hyuk, who was hit in the chest, fell down. Oh. As expected of Seo Ryong. Seeing that, all his lackeys cheered for him. They wondered if Kong Seo Ryong could lose, but he didn't disappoint. Then Kong Seo Ryong shouted, Get up. This is just the beginning. Hearing that, Jin Hyuk clenched his teeth. He wanted to get up, but there was nothing he could do. His strength was nowhere to be seen. Seeing that, Seo Ryong laughed. I don't understand how such a person could even delay the tests. At those words, Jin Hyuk was shocked. Could it be that these people had mistaken him for Mumu? After all, it was strange for someone he didn't know to attack him. Mumu, that bastard. Now all of his previous affection is gone. At that moment, Kong Seo Ryong gestured to Jin Hyuk and said, We still have a lot to do. Get up. If not, I think you've misunderstood something, you got the wrong person. At those words, Kong Seo Ryong snorted. Crazy bastard. You said you're Yu Jin-sung's brother, but now you're claiming that we mistook you for someone else since you're in a bad situation? At that, Jin Hyuk looked somewhere, took a deep breath and exhaled, then said, "The guy you're looking for is behind you." "What?" At that, all of the guys turned their heads. And they saw Mumu standing near the open door, tilting his head. The boy snorted at the appearance of Mumu, who gave off a simple air. "Since you're unable to do it, now you're blaming it on another guy?" And then one of the boys walked over and tapped Mumu's shoulder and said, "Yeah. Do you know him? I don't know what your relationship is, but if you get involved in this, you'll end up like him. Are you guys harassing Jin Hyuk?" "Harassing? What you're looking at is fair treat." Puck. Bang. At that moment, the head of the boy answering pierced the ceiling and got stuck. The eyes of the boys who witnessed that scene were trembling. What is this?" All the new guy did was slightly raise his hand, and this happened. The boy who was stuck in the ceiling seemed to have fainted since his body was drooping. Kong Seo-ryong, who was bewildered, shouted, Who are you?" "Me? I'm Mumu." With that, Mumu approached them with an expressionless face. Even Jin Hyuk gulped when he saw Mumu's unusual appearance, since he always saw him smile without a care in the world. Chapter 25. Interest. Part 2. Her hair was tinged in a mandarin orange color. Hong Hye-ryung, who was combing her long luscious hair with a comb, was pouting. Annoying. No matter how much she thought about it, her anger just kept rising. After the test was done, she thought that all the attention would be on her. At least she felt that she didn't have to rely on her father's fame. However, the result was unexpected. Eugene Sung's brother? She too had heard of Eugene Sung's name before. The story of him turning into an official of the palace to save his father, who was unfairly framed and exiled, touched the hearts of many women. But unlike the others, it was just a story for Hong Hye-ryan. And it wasn't something that she was interested in. Rather, who was he to get more attention than me? Many female students who were waiting in the temporary dorms were all talking about Eugene Sung's brother. Did you hear that? I heard that the delay in the entrance test was all because of Eugene Sung's brother. Really? Yes. According to the kid who came in late, the power he used was so great that the water in the lake just overflowed outside, just like the tearing of the gates. Oh my God. How could the brothers be so great? I am looking forward to seeing them. Oh my. Are you really drooling at just the thought of them? Why? I can paint any picture I want. No. This wasn't what she pictured. From the entrance test to the final test, regardless of gender, only the name Hong Hye-ryung should have been engraved in the hearts of the other students. But here, everyone was talking about the younger brother of Eugene Sung. Either in a good way or bad. She wondered what kind of person he was that stole all the attention she had to get. Fine. Hong Hye-ryung got up and tied her hair up. She wanted to wait until the ceremony in the morning, but then changed her mind. I'll see what kind of skills you have. This jerk knows to get angry? He thought that Mumu would just ruffle his hair and laugh at what happened. But seeing the terrifying expression Mumu had, was making Jin Hyuk sweat, and he felt a chill run down his spine. See come. Puck. Bang. At the same time with Mumu's gestures, another man's head fixed itself in the ceiling. The sight of a person's body, which was hanging down from the ceiling, wasn't something that anyone could have usually seen. Again. The expressions of the boys who were making fun of his appearance changed in an instant. They were terrified enough to take a step back. Say Seo-ryong. What should we do? What do you mean? Kong Seo-ryong couldn't help but be flustered at the question. Since Eugene Sung's brother was this weird-looking kid, he thought that it wouldn't be a huge deal, but the guy was completely different from what he expected. After another 5 to 6 battles, even he was sure that he could win over someone like Mumu. However, it was unreasonable to nail a person's head in the ceiling. I think we should apologize and ask him to stop. Damn it. Kong Seo-ryong bit his lips at the words of one of the boys. If he was here to visit Eugene Sung's brother with a good intention, then he could have left the room normally, but he was here to teach the man a lesson, and if he apologized it would be his clan that would be looked down on. The other students who would hear of this would ridicule him. Bang! Meanwhile, another head was nailed to the ceiling. Judging by the momentum, it looked like Mumu was going to nail everyone to the ceiling. He was going crazy. At that time, the boy standing next to Kong Seoryong hurriedly ran in front of Mumu and knelt. Mumu, was it? Please forgive me, I won't even talk to you anymore. Mumu looked down at him indifferently. And he said, my father said that a gentleman should always be generous. Ah. At those words, the boy's face brightened. He thought that his actions were right. Thank you. Thank you so much. But. Puck. Bang. Mumu raised his leg and kicked him, and just like others, this one too was stuck in the ceiling. Kong Seoryong, who saw that, yelled. You said that you would be generous. But he said that I didn't have to be generous if they were targeting my family. A family? Kong Seoryong's eyes widened. So, the one behind him and that monster were brothers? If so, then Seoryong realized that the target wasn't Jin Hyuk whom he hurt, but Mumu. Unlike him, who was bewildered, Jin Hyuk had a strange expression. Family. He didn't think that the word family would come out of Mumu's mouth. They haven't been together for long, but still, Mumu was referring to him as family. Something strange happened inside him. It was then. Grab. Kong Seoryong grabbed Jin Hyuk's hair and then grabbed his neck hard. Jin Hyuk, frowning, asked, what is this? I don't know. This jerk. I know that bastard won't leave me alone, so what more can I do? What? Jin Hyuk looked at Kong Seoryong's hand, which grabbed his neck. The hand was trembling. This guy seemed extremely nervous. Because of that, he couldn't see the big picture and was acting on a whim. Kong Seoryong yelled at Mumu. Yeah. Don't come closer. Did you say he is family? If you take one more step, I will break this bastard's neck. Break? Mumu raised his eyebrows. Kong Seoryong, who was terrified, felt even more scared at that, but he couldn't back down. Unlike the other idiots who were hanging from the ceiling, he didn't want to start his schooling with his body hanging from there. He had to hurry. If it got noisy, then people were sure to come. And when they do, he would lose his face. Kong Seoryong spoke to Mumu. Let's trade. If you let me go, I will let this one go unarmed. How is that? He had no intention of hurting Jin Hyuk. It was just a threat. If he actually hurt someone in the school severely, his admission would be cancelled immediately, and his life could get ruined. Tremble. Kong Seoryong's eyes trembled. Blood vessels had popped on the expressionless face of Mumu, and his facial muscles were changing. It was the first time he had seen someone's facial muscles move. While he was shocked, Mumu opened his mouth. I need to kill you for real. Creepy. At the words which Mumu casually spit out, Kong Seoryong felt his leg muscles go weak. There was only one thought running in his mind. That the guy in front of him was really fixed on killing him. Not just him, even Jin Hyuk knew how real those words were. That bastard might end up doing this. He felt like he had to calm Mumu down. But right now, his body was helpless, and he couldn't even gather his strength. Grab. He felt the strength in his hands. He didn't know when, but his strengthless body was back to normal. Jin Hyuk, who felt that, didn't hesitate to grab the hand of the Kong Seoryong, which was holding his hair, and then kicked him straight in the face. Puck. Quack. Kong Seoryong, who was too concerned with Mumu, got hit and stumbled back. Jin Hyuk widened the distance right away and spoke to Mumu. Mumu. I am fine, so stop. Before he could even finish those words. Ugh. Puck. Mumu grabbed Kong Seoryong, who was staggering, and pushed him against the wall. Bang. Kook. The wall of the room was destroyed, and Mumu, along with Kong Xiaoyang, fell straight down. Shit. This is the 5th floor. As he said, Mumu's temporary dorm was on the 5th floor. Startled, Jin Hyuk ran to the wall, which was broken. But when he looked down, while he should have seen the guys who fell down, he could neither see Mumu or the other one. What happened? Mumu? He couldn't figure out where they disappeared to. In the meantime, he heard muffled sounds from behind. People were coming up to see what was happening because of the weird sounds. In that group, Harayan was also there. He must be in a lot of trouble now. Since he couldn't kill Mumu right away, he intervened and helped the others out. The dust Harayan used was a medicine rather than a poison, and it made people powerless for a short while. It couldn't be traced back as it wasn't poison, and it vaporizes, leaving no trace. The downside was that if it was used once, then one would get immune to it the next time. It can only be used once, but it is so useful. He thought that once the guy turned powerless and didn't have internal energy, he was bound to get hit. Now, Harayan's eyes widened, wondering if he should enjoy the scene. What was that? 4 bodies were hanging from the ceiling, with their heads stuck inside. And he saw Jin Hyuk standing near the broken wall. The one called Kong Xiaoyang was nowhere to be seen, and seeing the smashed wall, he figured out that they fell outside. No? That isn't him. He looked at Jin Hyuk, who was in Mumu's room. Why was Mumu not there but his brother? Wait, he made them all like this despite being hit by the dust? Harayan's eyes narrowed. Since Jin Hyuk looked lower than himself, he didn't really care, but even after being hit by the dust, Jin Hyuk handled the others. It was unbelievable. Grab. Harayan clenched his fist. It seemed like he had too many opponents than he had initially expected. In particular, the brothers of Eugene Sung were similar to the descendants of the 4 guardians and didn't seem ordinary. Harayan retreated. And then he smiled. This guy and that guy too, you make things easy. Rather, his will was revived. Unlike him, Jin Hyuk could feel his head start to ache. The students had gathered around and looked at him with eyes full of awe. Whoa! Aren't these ones who talked about taking care of him earlier? Right. They were talking in the hallway. Oh God! He isn't a normal martial artist. He must have done this to show them that there is no mercy to the enemies who aim at him. He is a scary one. They seemed to misunderstand something. They thought what Mumu did was his doing. Since Mumu had fallen out of the room, the students all thought it was his doing. And Jin Hyuk thought about clearing the misunderstanding. He sighed and looked at the students and said, "You got it wrong." Whisper. Before he could speak, students suddenly looked at the hallway. A beautiful girl walked in, causing the crowd to make way with her scarlet hair. Everyone looked at her in awe. That big sword on her back? Hong Hairiyang? Hong Hairiyang? Why is the successor of the Southern Sword here? When her identity was revealed, the gathered students were shocked. Jin Hyuk, too, was shocked. For the first time, he was mesmerized by the appearance of a woman, but when he found out her identity, he got his senses back. Why is she here? As he was puzzled, the woman glanced around the room and then looked at Jin Hyuk as she opened her cherry lips. A hand which has no mercy for the enemies. You are pretty good. You deserve to be Hong Hairiyang's family rival. What the hell? Flustered by the declaration, the others were all dumbstruck. Oh my God! The successor of the Southern Sword of the Emperor recognized him. Damn it! That one is interested in him. I am envious. Jin Hyuk's head was confused at the words. Things were getting bigger. This is driving me crazy. He couldn't understand how things got so twisted. Meanwhile, in a forest without people nor far from the dormitory, a middle-aged man wearing half-white robes who arrived there dropped Kong Xiaoyang, who was grabbing his neck. Yuk! Kong Xiaoyang, who had sat on the floor, looked at the unknown person in front of him. Seeing that, the middle-aged man frowned and said, I saved your life, and you were being so wary of me? Saved from falling due. What are you talking about? Huh? I saved you from that one. The middle-aged man shook his head and looked at a figure which was fast approaching them. It was Mumu. Shit. As soon as he saw Mumu, Kong Xiaoyang trembled in fear. That guy was a monster. I don't know who you are, that guy is trying to kill me. It would be better to worry about that at a later time. Huh? Go to sleep now. Tat-attack. Kong Xiaoyang, who was scared, was making a fuss which annoyed the middle-aged man, and so he put him to sleep. Mumu tilted his head and asked, "Who are you, mister? Why did you take him?" He was hoping to crush the guy from the fall. Because he tried to kill Jin Hyuk. But when they fell through the wall, this man appeared and grabbed the kid by the nape of his clothes and snatched him away, making Mumi follow him. Mister? Ha ha ha. You really are an interesting kid. The middle-aged man laughed out loud. He was Dan Pil-hu, another deputy head of the Heavenly Martial Arts Academy. At the request from Byak Yaman, he came to check out what kind of guy the one called Mumu was and was really surprised at the unexpected sight. Did he say he mastered the light movement above water? He was skeptical at what he was told, but now he was excited. He could see why Byak Yaman was so interested in the kid. Dan Pil-hu stopped laughing and spoke to Mumu in a serious voice. Kid. Will you let this uncle take you in as a disciple? Chapter 26. Interest. Part 3. Kid. Will you let this uncle take you in as a disciple? The deputy head of the academy, Dan Pil-hu, liked Mumu. It was a really great thing for one to train their body so extremely without learning martial arts at all. Even though it was late for someone of Mumu's age to start cultivating internal energy, there was still room for overcoming that barrier and growing rapidly. I don't know about others, but if I, Dan Pil-hu, teaches him, it would be a different story. He had wealth and connections. Based on that, he had the confidence to make sure Mumu's missing aspects could be covered. If that can happen, then this child will be an opportunity for me. He was the deputy head of the Heavenly Martial Arts Academy. However, it was because he was recognized for his career and connections. Unlike the noble upbringing of a few in the academy who were recognized for their skills, this man was invited to the academy in recognition of his experience in the Murim Association. And this was done to strengthen the rules and internal relations of the academy and the association. And he was the one who contributed to this. But that was all. What is this? I am the one who laid the groundwork here. But how is it that the most important position is given to someone other than me? This man was the mastermind behind the growth of the academy. Thus, he laid the foundation to bring in his contacts and make it the best academy. However, he was given the position of deputy headmaster. And there was only one reason. It was because the achievements in the first year of administration of the academy weren't maintained properly. The current headmaster Du Zhongmyung, the hero of Apei, had brought in outstanding talents such as GMCOIL and Oh Yoon, who were the best in recent times. With your excellent managing skills, take care of the academy. One of the founders of the academy said that, but this meant that they thought Dan Pil-hu didn't have an eye to pick out talented people or recognize talents. Which made him feel bitter. He, too, was a warrior, and he was confident of being a headmaster, and he was sure that he could solidify the reputation of the academy. This child will help me do that. Even though the child knew nothing about martial arts, he had the best kind of muscles Dan Pil-hu had ever seen. It was rare to find such kids. Originally, only the highest-ranking kids among the non-graduate students who passed in the mid-second year would be eligible to have a dedicated teacher, but if he didn't ask now, he thought he would lose Mumu. Which was why he made a proposal. Deputy Dan Pil-hu asked with a smile. Kid. Opportunities like this don't come easily. At that, Mumu tilted his head. This was the 4th time already. Someone asked him to be their disciple again. Why are they doing this? It started with the prefect, and then 2 teachers of Jin Hyuk asked him too. He couldn't figure out why they were asking it. Besides, it wasn't someone like asked him, "Would you like to learn?" but strangers asking him to go under them and accept them as his masters. Dan Pilhu, who looked at Mumu, spoke. "Ah. This is a late introduction. I am Dan Pilhu, a deputy head in the academy." "Deputy head, below headmaster?" "Right. I am a deputy headmaster." "Ah, I didn't know." "Hello." Mumu, who finally found out his identity, bowed and said hello. Right. Right. He did think something was missing, though. Wouldn't the kid be interested now that he knew who the man was? A person of the academy who was a deputy headmaster was willing to accept him as a disciple, so surely it would be regarded as an honor. This? But it was weird. After greeting, Mumu looked at Kong Xiaoyang, who was on the ground and not Dan Pilhu. It was like he was unbothered. What was with that weak reaction? Does this kid not know me? Dan Pilhu frowned. He, too, was a warrior who had an excellent reputation in Murim, and if not for the current headmaster, he would have been a famous warrior known all throughout entire Murim. Sky-striking flash knives, there was no one who wouldn't know that title. Dan Pilhu directly asked. "Kid. Do you not know me?" "Huh? Are you asking about you being the deputy head? Have you ever heard of the name Sky-striking flash knives?" "No." Mumu's expression said he was sincere. Huh. If this kid was a student in the academy, he should at least know the people in it. It wasn't just that he didn't know martial arts, but it was like the kid knew nothing about Murim. Dan Pilhu had met many test takers and students, but this was his first time encountering such a child. And then Mumu said, "Rather than being your disciple, give that one to me. Look at this guy." Dan Pilhu raised his eyebrows. In the midst of all this, Mumu was only focused on his target. Dan Pilhu smiled and asked, "What are you going to do with this one?" "He tried to kill Jin Hyuk, my family, so I need to do the same." Such honesty. Normally, in such situations, they would lie. But here, in front of one of the members of the academy, Mumu was openly speaking about such stuff. He is an interesting kid. Normally, if anyone had said something like this, Dan Pilhu would have slapped them right away. But strangely, he couldn't feel malice from Mumu. The voice, the eyes, everything seemed innocent. The kids brought up in Murim are normally clever at this age, and this guy was far from clever. To Mumu, Dan Pilhu said, "So, you want to kill him? That will be difficult." "Why? He did something wrong." "Well, this is an academy which has people of various clans coming in. No matter how wrong one is, they can't be killed. If you do that, then well, you won't be much different from him. What if this guy was trying to kill the family of the deputy head?" He went speechless. The kid seriously had a knack for making people shut their mouths. Dan Pilhu looked at Mumu and said, "This is fun. Real fun. Let's be honest. If this happened to the deputy head, then I would quietly make sure the person paid the price without letting anyone know." It was an answer which shouldn't be given to a child by someone in the position of a deputy headmaster. However, this child seemed different from others. Therefore, Dan Pilhu thought that it would be better to try an honest approach. Without letting anyone know? If you are smart, you will know that causing troubles here will not help you in your academic life. And if you openly seek revenge, things will only turn harder. Even if it wasn't your fault. And paying the price without anyone knowing? At Mumu's words, Dan Pilhu laughed bitterly. This is the true wisdom of this world. If no one knows, who will even care about what happened? Mumu went silent at that. He seemed like a naive kid. Since he casually spat out the harsh reality, he thought that Mumu would think differently of him. He wanted to accept a child who was clever rather than stupid. No matter how talented one was, if they can't keep up with the other's actions, they are nothing short of useless. Looking kind, Dan Pilhu said, "Bahaha. I think I said something too heavy to understand. Forget what I said now. It is better to follow the rules when you are in this place. Tack. Dan Pilhu said that while pointing to Kong Seoryong who was near him. The deputy head, which is me, saw this kid crashing into the room and doing that act, so the price he pays will be high. There will even be a chance of him getting evicted too. Evicted? So you will make him leave? Right. If that happens, you won't have to worry about this after that. Would you be satisfied with this? At that, Mumu nodded with a sullen expression. As the man said, he couldn't do something which could cause trouble to Jin Hyuk and to his life in the academy. Good. Then let's get back to the other talk. What? Becoming a disciple of mine. Disciple? This isn't a privilege that one can easily get. If you become a disciple of mine, I will make sure that you are at 3rd rank by the end. 3rd rank? Right. Do you know what that means? If one graduated with the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd rank at the academy, great honor and wealth would follow. One could even become an official of the imperial palace. Everyone would want that. How is that? Is this interesting? If anyone said such a thing, it was bound to be tempting. Even a pure guy like Mumu could want it. Mumu answered. This rank, Mr. No, deputy head, if I become a disciple of yours, I might be a 3rd ranker? Caught you. He thought that this proposal would make Mumu tempted to accept it. He smiled and said to Mumu. Didn't I say that this opportunity isn't easy to come by? If you don't get high grades by the mid of the 2nd year, you won't be able to get a dedicated teacher. However, I value your talents, which was why I suggested this to you. In a word, it was like an honor. At that, Mumu tilted his head and asked. Isn't this against the rules? Taking that into consideration too, I am willing to accept you. All the responsibility will be borne by me, so don't worry. Ah. That's all right. You don't have to do that, it is fine. Right. What? Dan Pilhu frowned at Mumu's words. It was fine? My father said that I shouldn't cause trouble for others for my sake. I don't think it is nice for the deputy head to be held responsible for me. Mumu always kept in mind the things Xu Yipkyung said. At those words, Dan Pilhu coughed. Cough cough. Didn't I say that you don't have to worry? You only need to receive the teachings. That is one reason, but there is also another reason. Another reason? I am already training. This was his first time hearing something like this. What kind of training would a guy with no knowledge in martial arts even do? I heard that you trained yourself, but what kind of training could you even have? Mumu smiled and answered brightly. Muscle training. And he snorted. Muscle training. Refusing the offer was one thing, but it was absurd to use this as an excuse to refuse him. Huh. With that, Dan Pilhu was wondering if he should push him further or not. If Mumu was the clever kind who was trying to pull his strings, then Dan Pilhu would have gotten angry. But Mumu was really naive. It would be better to appease him. Finding someone like Mumu within the academy was rare. Dan Pilhu tried to make a very soft, caring expression and said, Muscle training, that is the first I have heard of it. Then can you tell me under whom you studied it? Nobody has taught me muscle training. I myself am the teacher and the disciple. Wasn't this the same as self-training? At those words, Dan Pilhu was nearing his limit. This guy was pure, but he was too pure. However, since the kid had talent, he decided to be patient a little longer. Wow, I think it's amazing and wonderful that you've reached this level just by training your muscles. But that has a limit. Limit? Why do you think warriors learn martial arts to kill or subdue the opponent? It is all about getting stronger. Muscle training too. Let's keep the jokes aside. Simply training the body won't give you results of that level. Shoo. Dan Pilhu held out his hand and pointed towards a small tree. As if a sharp blade cut it, the tree fell down. Slash. Mumu was shocked by the falling tree. How did you do that? Dan Pilhu shrugged his shoulders and asked. That is sword energy. When you train your internal energy and have a strong understanding of the energy flow, you can use your energy in this way. Amazing. Amazing? This is not so shocking. If you become my disciple, you can learn anything. However, training muscles won't be enough. Once one sees this, they would want to learn it at all costs. After talking this much and showing this in person, if Mumu still insisted on muscle training or came up with another reason to refuse, then he had to be stupid or just beyond innocence. Dan Pilhu approached Mumu and put his hand on his shoulders. If you follow the teachings of mine, you can reach this level too. No, I will make you stronger than the headmaster. He thought that he conveyed everything to Mumu. However, Mumu tilted his head and said something incomprehensible. I have a question. Go on. I hope you don't feel bad. You think a question will make me feel bad? Ask anything. Really? Yes. Anything. Thank God. I was curious to know why the deputy head kept on asking me to be your disciple even though your muscles are so weak. What? De Pilhu doubted his ears. He was wondering what Mumu was going to ask, but did he just say that his muscles were weak? This was beyond absurdity, especially from an idiot who knew nothing about Murim. Huh. Dan Pilhu closed his eyes and placed his hand on his forehead. Words didn't seem to work anymore. Only the body will work for. Thud. Huh? Dan Pilhu's eyes shot open at the sound. As he looked at the strange scene, Mumu's arm muscles expanded first, and then the clothes were torn, and his upper body enlarged. The bulging muscles on Mumu's body were squirming as if they were alive. At those incredibly developed muscles, Dan Pilhu was at a loss of words. He felt the body of Ju Kongin, a member in the training center, who was known to reach extreme levels, and working his body was a dwarf in comparison. How can the body suddenly? He had never seen such muscles in his life. With such muscles, just looking at it was taking away his breath. At that moment, Mumu pulled back his right arm and clenched his fist, ready to punch ahead with the biceps which swelled. What are you trying to do? Feeling crisis, Dan Pilhu opened the distance between them and raised his internal energy. And then was ready to unleash sword energy at Mumu. How dare he do this to me? However, cha-cha-cha-cha. The moment the sword energy was released at Mumu's chest, it scattered like haze before touching the chest. Dan Pilhu's eyes widened at that. The kid didn't learn martial arts, so he couldn't use internal energy. Then was the sword energy offset by mere muscles? What the hell? It was before he could express his doubt. Mumu clenched his fist and then made an action of punching Dan Pilhu from afar. Ugh. Swoosh. His eyelids started fluttering at the tremendous wind pressure coming at him, and it was as if a storm had taken birth right in front of him. Even his ears were hurting at the sound. Dan Pilhu felt a cold sweat drop down. He looked at the fist of Mumu. It was his first time in life that he was gripped with fear that his face could be blown away. As he gulped, he heard a rumble behind him. Thud. Scared, he slowly turned his head. There, bushes, trees, and plants were all uprooted and thrown away. No. This wasn't power from internal energy but muscles. Was this all done with the force of a fist? It was the moment when his common sense had shattered. Mumu said to him, who was at a loss of words, with a bright and innocent smile. Train your muscles. Even the deputy head can do this much. This much?